What's up, guys? Currently working on my 1994 Integra GSR, and I am in the process of replacing the water pump, timing belt, things of that nature. Also going to replace the oil pan with a Mugen oil pan and a brand new oil pump. But while I have all of this side of the engine off and of obviously the valve cover, I'm going to upgrade quite a bit in the head. I have some Super Tech dual valve springs, titanium retainers, Super Tech lost motion assemblies, and yeah, some brand new valve seals and some brand new keepers, and some Skunk 2 stage 1 cams. Those are sitting right there. Haven't even opened the box yet. So yeah, a really good head upgrade, you know, upgrades for that dual overhead cam here, VTEC head. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a separate video than my timing belt and water pump and, you know, things of that nature in that project. So I've come to this point. Oh man, it's going to be a lot of work replacing a lot of stuff, but I guess you got to start somewhere. So here we go. First, I am going to take off these cam gears. I've already loosened the bolts. You want to loosen these whenever the timing belt is still on them. That will make it a lot easier. So I'm just sliding these off. While I'm here, don't forget about the Woodruff key. There we go. Comes off just like that. That little key, you do not want to misplace that. So definitely make sure you do not lose it, and make sure you get it before it falls into the depths of your engine bay and you never find it. So there you go. All right, well, that was easy. Now it's time to remove the cam caps. There are a total of 14 bolts on each one. I will put a picture up of the correct sequence of removal and installation. So for removal, I believe I'm going to do the opposite. So instead of starting with number 1, I believe I'm going to start with number 14. So I'm going to go in that order. These are, I believe, 12 millimeters. And then these ones right here, I think, are 10 millimeters. So you have these, and then these are different bolts. So I'm going to go ahead and take each one of these off, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, progress has been made. I have the bolts loosened. I took off the VTEC solenoid and the distributor. I have those sitting right over here. There's a distributor. Actually, I have a brand new distributor to put on this thing whenever I put it all back together. There's my VTEC solenoid, my valve cover. Of course, I'm going to clean up the block and all that whenever I get a chance. But for now, I'm going to continue on with the current project. By the way, I also have new cam seals coming. There's an O-ring under here I'm going to replace. I'll show you that whenever I get to it. So let me finish completely undoing all these bolts, and then I have my table sitting right over here that I'm going to lay all this stuff on, because I want to put everything back in its original position. You know, this one on the exhaust side, this one on the intake side, and the cam caps, these are actually numbered. That one says 4, 3, 2, and then they have an arrow pointing this way, which this is the front of the engine. So there you go. So I'm going to take these off, and then let's see what's underneath. Let's see, this is exhaust side. So put it right there. Intake side, put it right there. All right, so now we're left with these cam caps. All right, guys, I have all of the cam caps off. You can see the order right here. I put them all in the exact order of which they came off. Kind of wiped them down just a bit. So now I am going to go ahead and get this plastic cover out of the way. This plastic cover right here around the cams. This one 10 millimeter bolt right there. So just to get this out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I believe we can lift our cams out. Let's go ahead and take these cams out. This one being the exhaust. Here we go. So I will put this on the exhaust side. And then here comes the intake cam. Nice, cams are out. Also guys, for your VTEC engines, remember this O-ring right here. You want to make sure that that is still there, and it's also in good shape. Since I have this open, I'm just going to order a brand new OEM O-ring right here anyways. This will help your VTEC engagement. Well, help it actually be there. So just a little tip right there. But yeah, we are ready for the next step. Okay, next up is I need to get the rockers out so I can get to the valve springs, the retainers, and the valve seals, so I can go ahead and replace those. Now they're held in by 2 rods. They are actually behind these 2 bolts right here, and these are 10mm hex heads or Allen heads. So, but before I can remove those 2 bolts, I need to remove these 2 guys right here. I actually have a screw that is inside this one, because you're going to want to thread in a screw or a bolt that can go in these, and then you want to get some pliers and then just pull these 2 out, because these keep the rods in there, and the rods go all the length of the head. So on the other side I showed you those 2 bolts. On this side, I believe this is one hole right here, which, you know, the VTEC solenoid was here, and then you want to undo this 1 bolt. So a total of removing 3 bolts. But like I said, but first we need to take these out. Got it. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Let me get my little shop towel here. So yeah, it just goes in that hole and it holds that rod that we're about to take off or take out. So pretty easy. Just another step. I'm going to put these over here and go ahead and get that other one out. Okay, let's switch ratchets. There we go. Let's crack this one loose. There we go. This side looks like they have crush washers on them. Interesting. The other side didn't have a crush washer on it, did it? Let me see. Oh, maybe it's, yeah, crush washer was still in there. Okay. Oh, good thing I found that. And this crush washer looks to be stuck. Whenever you push these rods out, these rockers are going to become free. So I do want to put these in the exact position, you know, each cylinder and of course intake and exhaust. I want to put them exactly where they came from. So as you know, I'm going to put them on my table appropriately. But here's the thing. There is a chance that they may become, you know, pretty loose altogether. I'm not sure how loose. I've never taken apart completely this head apart like this before. So I guess we'll see. But there are options. You can put a zip tie to go around these just to, you know, for sure make sure that they all stay together and, you know, the correct orientation and all that. I don't think I'm going to zip tie them like that. I'm going to try not to, but I mean, we'll see how this goes. So as you can see, I have those 2 bolts out. I have a 3/8 ratchet right here, or not a ratchet, but a extension. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push it this way, and then the rod will come out of here, and then the other one will come out of here. And then I can pull the rod fully out, and then all of these rockers will be free. So here we go. Let's go ahead and try this. Oh, yep, I felt it move. There it is. You can see it poking out right there. All right, well, there's kind of no turning back now, right guys? Well, there is, but here we go. Okay, so Don't think I need this extension anymore. Just put that to the side. Wow, there we go. By the way, that pin, these little pins right here, I'm gonna call them pins, but they go in there. That's so, you know, you can only put this in one way. So, you know, it doesn't go all the way through. So this is going to be in an exact position. I can get them like this. Yes. Okay, now I see why people zip tie these. Yeah, okay. All right, so this was this. Yep, that's correct. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's a pin. Okay, success. All of the rockers and these guide rods are out. Here is the head. We can now clearly see the valve springs and the retainers and also the lost motion assemblies. Let's see if we can take this guy out here. Probably have to get some pliers around it. Woo! Get this lost motion assembly out. Check it out. Wheelie. Okay, so here is the tool that I got. It is HPT Autosport. So this tool goes on the head like so, and the two bolts go in there, tighten it to the head, and then you have a bolt that pushes down this cup right here, pushes down the valve spring, and then it has a magnetic screwdriver that you're able to take out the keepers. So let me mock that up and show you guys how that works. Okay, before I put these in, just gonna get some oil here and just put it on the ends of this fastener going into the head. We don't want to strip anything out. So kind of started this one. Let me back it out. Get a little bit of oil just from the engine is good. Just kind of put on these threads, get it nice oily there. Very good. Okay. Now, let's see, this is has an Allen head. So let's tighten these down. Doesn't have to be super tight. Just tight. Okay, that's good. Now, let's get out this big bolt right here, and then this little cup. So this is going to go over the valve retainer. So let's see here. I guess I should lube this one up too. There we go, got that started. Let me get a socket that fits that. Compressing the spring. So you can see how it compressed the spring, and now I can see my keepers. I can get these keepers out. Oh, it looks like I got one, two. Excellent. Awesome. I'm just gonna put these down here for now. Very nice. I got the keepers out. So now I'm just gonna back this bolt off and we can take out the spring and the retainer. Very good. It is loose. I'll take this little cup out, set that to the side. Awesome. I got my spring and my retainer out. OEM. That's nice. Let's take a look in there. Okay, and I can see the valve seal. My valve seals weren't bad or anything, as far as I know. They weren't leaking, but you know, while I'm doing this job and I'm in here this far, might as well do it. Plus the car has 152,000 miles, so might as well do them now. All right, I'm going to show you how this is done, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and put this little window in here, just like that, right on top of the retainer and the spring, and then I'm going to thread this bolt down to where it touches the little cup there. Make sure it's even and it's right on it. It has a little, top of it you can see has that little dimple in it. See, like right now it's not in the right spot. So I just need to move that over to where it's on it appropriately. There we go. All right, let me get my ratchet on this. So I'm just tightening it down. The little cup is compressing the spring. And after I compress it enough, all right, there are the keepers. I'm going to grab my little magnetic screwdriver. Got both of them. Awesome. Retainer. Just take it out all in one assembly. And there you go. It's as simple as that. Now I'm going to take off this tool so I can take off those valve seals. Okay, here are the valve seal removal tool that I have. Hopefully this works. It does seem a little cheap. I think I got this on Amazon, but let's give it a try. Let me try this one. So it just clamps onto the seal like that. Hopefully this does not damage. Alright guys, so I just pulled the OEM valve seal. Here's the old OEM one, and here is the brand new SuperTech exhaust valve seal. There's a little comparison there. Not much really to see, but let me show you inside the head. So you can see the one on the left does not have a valve seal on it, and the one on the right still has the old OEM valve seal on it. So what I'm going to do is take a 11mm and just push that new valve seal in until I feel it click in there. That one was pretty easy. All you have to do is just pull and twist at the same time. All right, let me clean that up a little bit and we'll get the new one on there. All right, so I'm going to get some oil. That's just in the engine bay, and I'm just going to just dab it in the inside the valve seal, and then I'm going to put it around the valve there. My deep 11mm socket and extension. Just going to push it on there, and then this fits perfectly over it. Going to push it down, and now we're going to gently push it. Alright guys, here are the SuperTech dual valve springs with titanium retainers versus the intake OEM GSR springs and retainers, and here's exhaust. It's interesting, I didn't know this, but the exhaust had one spring and the intake was dual spring, whereas all these that I am replacing are dual spring. So you can see it there. There's the second spring. So that's interesting that the intake was dual spring and the exhaust wasn't. Wonder why. Alright guys, I have the new titanium retainers and dual valve springs in. I am compressing the spring. Let me attach my ratchet to this, and then we can compress this, and then we can put in, oops, let me turn it the other way, let's tighten that down. And then we can put in the keepers. You can see I already got the keepers in that one right there. So I'm about to put the keepers in this one. It is really tricky. You of course use the magnetic screwdriver that they supply. So you have to put the spring down pretty far in there. And then let's see, here are my SuperTech, brand new SuperTech keepers. Okay, now that the spring is all the way down there, you're just going to take your keeper and you're just going to place it in there just like that. This is a little tricky, especially with this magnet, so yeah, good luck getting those into place. You just kind of have to work it with a magnet and 2 screwdrivers, and eventually you'll get them into place. By the way, the keepers, the slimmer side, the slimmer end goes towards the bottom and the thicker end goes towards the top. It's kind of like a V shape, but yeah, so you'll just work these in here with a couple screwdrivers until you can get them in place, and then you can unscrew this and set them in. All right, guys, first cylinder has new hardware, new titanium retainers and dual valve springs, and I'm going to put these lost motion assemblies right in there, just like that. They just set in there. Excellent. Now I can pull this rope out and we can continue on to the next cylinder. Alright guys, one tip I forgot to share on the first cylinder I did. In order to keep the valves from dropping into the cylinder, you need to fill the void of the cylinder on what you're working on. So some people use like compressed air, like 100 psi, and just fill it to where it's always full with pressure and it keeps the valves afloat. Or you could do like I did and get some nylon string or nylon rope and fill it, you know, take out your spark plugs and fill it through that hole, which is kind of a time-consuming pain, but fill that hole whenever the cylinder is all the way down, and then whenever you filled it pretty good, go ahead and rotate the crank until the cylinder comes up, and then you'll actually feel it stop because of the rope hitting it while making it to where it can't go any further. All right, guys, all of the springs and titanium retainers are in, and of course the valve keepers and the lost motion assemblies. So that part is done. That was tedious. That took a lot of work. It definitely takes some practice to get those keepers in there. Just a fair warning, you have to have a lot of patience for that. So here's what my table looks like currently. I am ready to start assembling the rest of the hardware. You can see I already started one of the rods on the exhaust side, and I think I'm just going to put these in one by one since I didn't put, you know, zip ties on them or anything, which isn't really a big deal to me. So I'm going to start assembling this stuff. I'm also going to make a new accurate order for a new cam seal, and I might as well just go ahead and replace the O-ring that goes in the head right there as well. So I'm going to make another order on that. So I'm going to go ahead and start pushing in the rod and all these rockers. It's very simple. All you have to do is just, you know, slide this through and do them one by one as I'm going to do them. So I have them set up in the original order of which they came out. Let's get to it. Oh, you know what? These two might have to go in together because of that. Yeah. Okay, so you see that little rod, that tiny little rod sticking out right there? Yeah, so these will have to go in together because you can't put these in one by one. Because see how they kind of fit? There's a little groove. Oops, there's a little groove right there that it fits into, so these will have to go in together. All right, well, I learned that quick. Okay, so now it has become apparent to me why people zip tie those together. It is kind of a pain. You have to put all three of these in at the same time. So yeah, this is going to take me a little while. Just a heads up. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to feed all these through. All right, guys, it's actually not too bad. This took me less than 5 minutes. So, I mean, once you kind of get the hang of how they all need to be situated and everything and get your hands in there, it's really not that bad. So now the rod is almost all the way in. I am going to rotate it, and I am going to look through this hole right here. Remember where we had this guy right here, and I am going to rotate the shaft to where the hole is pointing up so I can slide this in to lock that in place. Interesting. Okay, well this side only took me like less than 3 minutes, so that's really cool. Now I guess I will torque down, well, this hole right here, the plugs on these. All right guys, so these little end caps that you have to take off to get these rods out, these are all torqued to 46 foot-pounds. Time to open my Stage 1 tuner cams by Skunk 2. Oh yeah. All right, Skunk 2, Stage 1 tuner cams. Right out of the box. Nice. Very, very nice. Skunk 2. Skunk 2 Stage 1 tuner cams versus stock GSR cams. Hell yeah.